the question always is, how much are you willing to pay for a certain bourbon, whiskey, or rye?
Today, we're going to talk about 10 bourbons and how much we would pay for them.
Welcome back to another edition of Bourbon Kingdom. I'm David.
And I'm Zach.
And today...
I don't know why you're going so slow like that.
I don't know, just having fun with it. I get tired of saying it the same way every time, so...
Yeah, fair.
It's all... But totally today, fair. We're going to talk... we're going to pull 10 bourbons out here and just talk about them and talk about whether... Like, what we would pay for them, realistically.
So I know, first off, we're all feeling that where bourbon's super expensive. Like, everybody... I don't care who you are, bourbon's way more expensive than what it was just 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Overall. But one of the questions we'd ask a lot, like, hey man, like I see this bottle here for X cost. Should I buy that? Or hey man, what should I buy a such and such for? So today we're gonna try to talk about some that we get asked a lot of. Some of these will be newer. Some of them we'll talk about, like maybe I wouldn't have spent much on these now as what I would have on certain other batches.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we'll kind of give you a perspective on that. Let me just also throw this out here as a disclaimer. Whenever we're talking about what we would spend on these bottles, this is to drink. We're not talking about buying something to resell. Like,
right.
You know, if you're going to spend X amount of money on a bottle, but yet you could quote unquote make the profit off that, that's not what we're talking about today. So whatever we're spending our money on for this, the value of it, that's what we would open and either drink for ourselves or share with friends.
Drink it.
Whatever it would be. So
the crack it price, that's what we're going to call it. What is the crack it price?
I'm not saying that.
I am. I'm saying it every time. Everyone that comes out. What is its crack it?
All right, you leave.
Oh, do I get to go first?
With that, you do.
All right, we'll start.
Before we start, though, hit that like, subscribe, notifications button, and that, what he's saying. Tell us what your price is on some of these.
Your crack it price.
We'll crack it.
All right, the first one is Eagle Rare. We know that the retail on this is somewhere between $45 and $50 here locally. Whatever it is for you all, whatever it is for you all. And I would say realistically, that's probably what I would pay for it. I think it's a solid 10-year bourbon. Yeah, it's good, and it's a good one to have to me on a bar for when your friends come over and they don't know much about bourbon, but they do know the words Blanton, Eagle Rare, Buffalo Trace, that kind of stuff. And I think it's fine for $45 for a 10-year.
I think with the 10-year age statement, I think it being a legacy distillery, I think $40 to $50, I think that's more than fair.
Yeah.
I think if you sat there and said, man, I don't own one, I really want to own one, and you even went up like $60, $70.
I probably, like, if I didn't have one, I think you're probably right.
Because if you look at, this is why I say this, people are going to be like, you're spending $60, $70 on Eagle Rare. If you look at what else is out there and you haven't had one, you haven't owned one,
yeah,
I'm not going to hate somebody for that because I understand. Now, if you can get a whole bunch of them or whatever, or if, you can go and find them for cheaper than that, put in a little effort, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think this is one of the easiest drinkers you can get that's like really good quality.
Yeah.
And it's consistent.
If you age it in honey, you can get like $250 out of it.
Don't even get started with that. I'm not even knocking the person. It's just wild. All right, let's stick on the old Buffalo Trace route here. Weller 12. Now, again, this is pretty cheap. I mean, these are around like $50 again, MSRP. I think this is... For a while, they didn't come out around here.
No, they were.
They were not. Like, it was years, and then they dropped like crazy.
Yeah.
And I know a bunch of people. I know some of you guys have even talked where y'all didn't see Weller 12 for a long time. Then all of a sudden it dropped just about a year ago. I think maybe a little bit longer than that. Again, here's the thing. I wouldn't buy this really for me at all. Like, for me to drink. It's not that's bad. It's easy. It's an easy drinker. It's just not what I would overall buy. But if I was going to spend the money, I'd probably buy it so my friends can drink it. I literally just hosted people and they were drinking on this.
Sure.
I think I would probably spend between like $60 and $70 again.
I think I think I would say somewhere around that same thing. Not for myself, even though, again, there's nothing offensive. It's an easy 90 proof weeder.
Yeah. But it's just not, like, I know secondaries around 180. I just don't feel like I want to push that 180, 200 mark with Weller 12 whenever I can go get either like a Discovery or a 4-gate.
Yeah.
That's just going to be better.
You know what? Let's just pull this one out. All right.
This one's going to be a little more of a debate.
This is tricky because this is really good. I mean,
this is the batch one of Knob Creek 18 year. And just to confirm, I was just drinking on this the other night. This is dang good.
Yeah.
I forget how good this is.
Yeah, it's really good. This one, and I've not had last year's release or anything.
Not nearly as good.
I mean, they took the care to put this one in a cool box and all that kind of stuff, which is helpful. This MSRP is around $200, give or take a few dollars. The newer batches are a little bit cheaper.
Yeah.
But let's just say for whatever, the 18 year is somewhere around 180. I think I would be more likely. This one I would have spent 180 to 200 bucks on, just because the box was cool, and I didn't know what we were.
It was really good.
It was really good.
It finished what, like 7th for us or 8th for us in our top 10 a couple years ago.
Yeah, it was high up there.
It did really well.
But they're now releasing them just as the bottle with no special packaging around it. I'm probably, for the 18 year, I would be probably more along the lines of 100 to 120. I would be willing to do that just because it is an 18 year. And so that'd be where I would probably be at.
I think for me, so I got this, at first I didn't want to spend money on it because I didn't think it was going to be that good. And waited, and Costco ended up dropping it. And I got it for like 159 bucks out the door. I got a good, at the time it was a good deal.
Yeah.
And I was pleasantly surprised then. I'm very, very happy with it now, and I would spend that money again. I don't know if I'd want to be above like 160. If I could get something like this quality of bourbon, I'm totally fine with it. Last batch I did not. So if I'm judging
this batch, I would pay 150 for this batch for sure.
I kind of agree with you. I think I'd actually even be a little bit cheaper. I think I'd probably be around like $100.
Yeah, I'm 100 to 120, and that's just because it is an 18-year age.
It does. I was going to say the age statement is something. It's coming from Big Boy Distillery as well, but it's one of those sneaky, like, this comes out, this is amazing. Next one comes out, not as good. So we'll have to see what the next one does. All right, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. Now, this isn't the single barrels, we're just talking about the batches. This one, I just so happened to pull the C923. This is the 13-year, 7-month one. I forget what MSRP on this one is. It was like around 80-something bucks. This is, again, you could double that price on it, and I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
On this one. Yeah. This one is fantastic. It's totally worth it. It's such a great value. It's one of the best values in all of whiskey whenever you start talking about that stuff. The quality of it, though, like, legitimately, I think you could double it. And I think you're sitting there thinking to yourself, like, man, you just double that price? Is it really that worth the quality that's in there? I think it is.
I think the barrel proof, the barrel proofs as a whole, quality-wise, $70 to $80 is a good price for them, generally speaking. I think that's a good price. I think you're some of them you're more disappointed in it than others, but year in and year out, you're going to get some good quality in there for that price for a barrel proof that hovers somewhere between 120 and 130, whatever, give or take a few. And then there's the special hitter ones like the C923. Yeah, I'd pay 150 bucks probably without even thinking about it. The C920, which is one of my favorites, I would pay 120 bucks for.
Yeah, that's
not even think twice about it.
But then you get that A24 that we had this year.
Yeah, and again,
and we were like,
but that's coming off the heels of arguably one of the best ones they've had in a long time.
That is true.
So
that is true.
It was going to destined to be disappointed. My next one is, and we just did a review on this, and it is out. This is the Peerless Double Oak Bourbon. This is somewhere between 90 and $100.
Yeah.
Give or take a few dollars here and there. I know in one of the comments, I think someone said they got it out the door at like 75 or $80 or something like that.
I was actually going to say that's my price I would want to pay for it.
Yeah, and I would agree with you. I think 60 to $70 would be. I would spend the money on it.
I think if this was closer to $75, I think it would be such a bigger hit than what it already is.
Yeah.
Like, I think what holds this bourbon back is not the quality of the bourbon. I think it's the price point of it.
Yeah.
And we can argue it being a smaller distillery, and we can argue this, that, or whatever else. But at the end of the day, if this is a prime example of a price point that I think actually holds it back.
Yeah.
And yes, I understand that these are technically kind of allocated and they're hard to find. And so if that is part of that price or whatever, maybe if they start making more, hopefully it goes down. Cost of it does. I don't think so, but hopefully it would.
The price of bourbon ain't going down.
I mean, why would you? People are willing to spend X, and then why are you just going to cut it off? And
so true.
That's every business.
I totally agree with you on that.
So, but again, it's
good.
It's still really good.
Yeah, it's really good. I have no complaints about it whatsoever.
Next one,
from a liquid standpoint.
Old Staggy Stag. Dave's, is this your favorite price point of MSRP for any bottle out there? Almost.
I think hands down, this, from a value standpoint, this is the best one.
Yeah, it's arguably one of the better ones. So
because even store pick versions of it are only $60.
Yeah. I think Stag is at one of these weird spots right now where, because it's went down in price on the secondary.
Yeah,
I was looking at it.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of at those weird spots where it's kind of getting back to where you want to see it. Like, a lot of the stuff on the secondary is going down. Like, we get it. But if this was a craft distillery, this would be $200.
Yes.
If this was, but it's a big boy, so it's less.
Yeah.
I feel like that price point of around $150 is much more reasonable for something that's barrel proof, about 6 to 8 years old, and that is consistently really good. I understand there's some batches that haven't been great.
Yeah.
I get that, and I agree. But I feel like that's closer to that price point to where I feel good about it. Now, if it's a monster batch, like if it's one of these just amazing, just rich and impactful kind of batches, I'm such a big fan of it. I would really think about, if I didn't have one, think about spending more than that. But I think 150, because a lot of you will write, this is one of the ones that we get wrote about a lot in the comment section. Like, hey man, I see a Stag for $150. Would you buy it? And I always say, if you're good with spending that money, I would be comfortable with that.
That's a good price. I think for myself, I have a tendency not to want to spend that much on them, and it's not because of the quality. It's a tricky thing for me. I would definitely spend $120. Not even.
It would probably depend on the batch for you.
And not even think about it.
Yeah.
But I'm more apt to trade for a Stag than I would be to pay for a Stag.
Fair. But in this exercise, we're not trading.
I know we're not, and that's so I'm looking and I'm going. I'm realistically at about $120. There have been some unique ones in there, like last year's Liquor Barn pick around
Derby time.
That was hazmat basically.
Yeah, it was like .001
it was like
off or something.
Yeah, it was like 139.9 or something like that. It was something weird. It was really good, and I would have paid $150 to $200 for that, no problem. This one, however, I mean, not this one. This as a whole, again, I would pay above retail, but it's probably hovers somewhere around $120 for me.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah. What do we?
You
got 2 left, right?
Yep. Technically 4.
Yes, technically 4. 2. I'm looking at my side though. This is the Jack Daniel's 12-year. Is this the new batch?
No, this is actually the old batch, but you can combine those two.
All the batches. This was 80-ish, somewhere probably somewhere around $80.
Yep.
And that is probably, I think realistically for me, I'm going to be weird on this because this isn't one of my favorites. I would probably say I'd hover somewhere closer to the $50 range. For me, just because I didn't love this one. I actually like the batch 2 one better than I like the batch 1.
Yeah. What would you spend on the batch 2?
I think probably retail would be fine for me
Okay.
on that too. So, which is 80 to
80 to 100 bucks.
80 to 100 bucks,
roughly.
give or take, whatever. But so, and there are lots of Jack Daniels that I'm willing to pay over retail for. This just happens not to be one of them.
Yeah, so last year, I remember whenever we tried it last year, and I loved it.
Yeah,
like, it was one of my favorites of last year until we got into the blind, and I'm like, what happened to my beautiful baby Char King? Because that's what it was at one point in time. Like, it turned a little peanutty on me, and it just kind of kept falling down our ranks when it came to doing these blinds. So I think last year, if you would have asked me before we did the blind, I think it would have been really high. Up there. I think I would have said like between that 150 to 200 mark. That's how much I just absolutely loved and adored it. I like this year's batch 2 a lot. I really do. I feel like between that $80 and $100 mark, basically MSRP, I think that's kind of a great price point for it.
I agree with that.
You know? So, all right. Next, second to last third to last. Russell's 13. This is a tricky one because if all of the quality of Russell's 13 was batch 1, to the moon. Like, that's how much I love that. It's so wildly great.
And the crazy thing is that batch 1 was $85.
Yeah, don't remind me.
Yeah, $85.
R.I.P. to Wild Turkey pricing. Here's the thing. I'm not going to say they've gotten worse because was it batch 2 or batch 3 we didn't like?
Batch
3? Yeah, batch 3. I mean, we didn't dislike it. It was just like I could go to Russell single barrel.
Yeah.
Batch 4 was much better. I think batch 4 is the best one besides 1.
Yeah. I agree with that.
I think, though, if I'm being honest with you, outside of the batch 1, I don't think they're that much better than a standard Russell single barrel. I think they are better. I'm not going to sit there and say they're not. But for the pricing of it, I don't think it's crazy different. So if we take out the batch 1 in this equation, then I'm probably around like $100 again. Like, you know, it seems crazy because, I mean, you could say $10 a year and $130. But I would just feel so much better if these were around $100 instead of what, $250 now?
Yes, they're over 2 now.
Yeah, I hate the pricing of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say. I agree with that. $100, yes. To crack it open and buy it and drink it would be. I can concur with the $100. All right, the Michter's toasted barrel strength. This is one of those. Is it annual? I don't even think it's annual. Is it? Do they do it every year? It's like every couple. I think they've done 2. Have they done 2?
No, they've done more than 2. It just doesn't come out every year though.
The Michter's toasted barrel strength. You all know my love for Michter's. I like almost all of their allocated.
Pretty much love all of it.
Yeah, all of their allocated stuff for sure. This is, I think, MSRP again because of what Michter's does with their releases and adds a second bottle to it. It kind of gets convoluted in like how much did this bottle actually cost because you're also buying a $60.
Yeah,
you're also adding $60 to it.
But that's not. I mean, that's only a quote unquote local problem. That's not a.
Yeah, it's not.
That's not.
That is
everybody
true.
else problem.
But from what we can see, I think it's somewhere around $100, give or take a few dollars here and there. If you can't get it in your area, then sorry, you can't get it in your area. But taking it for what it is, $100. This actually is one that I would probably have no problem. I don't feel bad opening it and drinking it for the package price of probably $175 to $180.
I don't know if I can go that high.
But that's what I'm saying. Like I don't feel bad getting that second bottle of bourbon that makes that adds on top of that. So that doesn't bother me a bit. So somewhere between that $160 and $180, I'm totally okay with.
I think I would probably be somewhere between like $100 to $120 because I'm sitting here thinking to myself right now. I like this more. This is one of my favorite toasted products. That gets like annual, like I don't want to say annual release, but like there's multiples of them.
Yeah.
So I'd probably say I like it more. I like it more than the Peerless off the top of my head.
Yep.
So I know I'd spend more than that. So I think I'd be somewhere between 100 and 120 and be good with that.
Yeah.
Some of these batches too, some of them are just absolutely perfect. Some of them are not as good, even though they're all really good.
Yeah.
But some of them just really do stand out. So I'd probably be higher on some of those.
Yeah.
To be fair. But I mean, overall,
the toasted rye, boy.
Whew, yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right.
No joke.
Last one. William Heaven Hill 15-year. Yeah, I almost grabbed the William Heaven Hill 17-year, but then I thought to myself, I'm going to have this conversation and I'm going to knock it down a peg because I'm going to talk about the William Heaven Hill 15.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because I still see these on the secondary market. And I see them for like around like what are they like around $450? 400 to 450.
380 to 425, something like that.
I think that this is arguably, I haven't had them all, so I can't speak for all of it. I think this is one of the best William Heaven Hills that they've ever done. And I think it's an example of what almost perfect oak can look like. Like the Heaven Hill 17 is better oak notes in my opinion. But this is so...
But 2022 was a heck of a year.
This is so... Yeah, I know. This is so amazing. And I feel like it still gets slept on. And I would spend a couple $100 on this. I mean, I have. Like, out of the gift shop.
This bottle was $280 out the door.
Yeah. No, is it that much?
Yeah, $280 out the door.
I'll be honest with you.
Because we were worried that the 17 was going to be...
That is true. We were
over $300.
It was going to be more.
And it ended up being about the same price, like $283.
It was the exact same, I think.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem spending that MSRP because the quality of it, the rarity and the opportunities to get to purchase that is so few and far in between. I just think this is such great stuff. And for whatever reason, it still gets slept on. Like, this beats down the William Heaven Hill 17-year. And that one's more popular, I guess you would say, for whatever reason.
I mean, from a secondary standpoint, if you take its popularity, it is more popular. But if you had somebody who was selling this on the secondary market, this one for $400 and the other one for $650, I think is about right now. Somewhere between $600 and $650, you should save $200 and get this one.
Buy that one all day long.
All day long.
1000%.
I paid and cracked this one at $280, and I have never been more ecstatic that I did.
That's so good.
And I could never fault for that. I'd probably, honestly, once this one's gone, and I know that I'm going to be able to find them, I'll probably actually be willing to pay the secondary price to get another one. I mean, honestly speaking, I will buy another one, and because it's only $100 over what, essentially $100 over what you paid for the bottle anyway.
Which is crazy.
And I'll gladly pay someone $100 for storing it for me for 2 years. So
fair. All right, so that's our list. So let us know what you all think. Let us know if you think some of our pricing is crazy. Let us know if we're undervaluing certain things. Let's have a good, friendly, healthy discussion.
Yeah, and I mean, the truth is like some of these are way more expensive in your area too.
Yeah.
So I'd be curious if you all paid for whatever they are in your area, what you paid for them, and what you were willing to pay for them, and actually crack it and drink it. So
agreed.
Until the next time,
We'll see you.
We will see you.